friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia, and today I'm going to do a sort of just fun little video because I was in Indigo recently, and I'll put the picture up on the screen because it's going to be kind of hard to see on my phone, but they had a little book bingo in the store, and I thought it would be fun to do a little video trying to get a bingo from this card. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this card and choose which line we're going to go for, because we need to be strategic about this. Some of the stuff on here is like not something I'm specifically interested in, so we need to avoid those. Okay, so the one thing that I'm immediately drawn to is the top left corner says first in a series, and I am drawn to this because I recently got Empire of the Vampire by Empire of the Vampire. Something about the alliteration there. I don't know if it counts as alliteration, it's at the end of the word. And I really want to get into this. So I think I'm probably going to go for one of the lines that starts in that corner, just as an excuse. Although, yeah, okay, we're sticking with that. So if we go across, we have retelling of a classic. I don't think I really have any retellings of classics on my TBR. That's not something that really interests me. So, Japanese cozy fiction is the next one, and I do actually have one of those. I have the Traveling Cat Chronicles, which was also recently given to me by my sister, so that's a possibility. But then next is a translated book. I don't know if I specifically have anything translated, not that I couldn't look for something, I'm sure there's something I could find there, so maybe. And then banned book. Okay, maybe. So let's look at the down and then we'll look at the across. So down is, the next one is Inspire Personal Growth. I'm not a self-help book reader, but I do like psychology textbooks and not textbooks, but books about psychology and I don't know, things that you could be inspired by for personal growth, so maybe. Nature is a main character. I don't know anything like that, but I could look it up. Local author. Okay, and then unreliable narrator. Yeah, I mean, I'm not specifically opposed to anything in that line, but not a lot is I don't really have anything currently that would fit those prompts, so it would have to be looking for new books. Not that that's necessarily bad. Okay, then diagonally, we have one sitting read. So I could probably use this for that again. Book everyone's talking about. I don't know if I have anything that's people are currently talking about it, but I'm certain I could find something that people are talking about in fantasy circles that I'm excited to read without too much difficulty. Okay, then we have Enemies to Lovers Romance. So I did kind of see this one on the card, and it inspired me to actually put a hold on The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I'm pretty sure this is Enemies to Lovers. So I put a hold on it, and so there's an option that I have for that one already. Okay, and then the bottom right corner is award winner. I'm not sure what I have that's award winning. Maybe Eve? That's award winning. Let me see. Maybe one of these has an award. Oh, this has a Pulitzer Prize, and this doesn't have an award. What's the fantasy prize that everyone talks about? Let me look it up. Oh, the Hugo Awards, right? Yes, Hugo Award. It also has a City on Mars listed here, which I have a hold on for my library as well. I don't know if I consider that fantasy, but I guess if it's won an award, that counts, right? Yeah, the Hugo Award for Best Related Work and the Royal Society Trevendi Science Book Prize. Okay, so this is also an option and something that is on my TBR, so that would be good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the diagonal line. And for first in the series, I have Empire of the Vampire. For one sitting read, we have the Traveling Cat Chronicles. Book everyone's talking about is currently undecided. For Enemies to Lovers, we're going to do Cruel Prince. And then for award winner, we'll see how I feel, what I feel like I want to read when I am starting that. But I have City on Mars, which I probably should read because I have a hold that's going to expire. And I also have A Day in the Life of Abed Salama, so those are two options. But I think I have rambled for long enough, so I will leave this here and meet up with you when I begin reading. I'm not specifically going to go in order. It'll just be whatever I feel like reading when I finish my current read. So yeah, I will catch up with you later. Hello, I just wanted to jump in to quickly say that I've decided to start with the award-winning prompt and that I am starting A City on Mars, which the tagline for is Can we settle space? Should we settle space? And have we really thought this through? It's a nonfiction about exactly what it says. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start that now. Okay, I just finished the introduction. So we're now, on to chapter 1. And yes, I am laying on the floor. I don't have like a chair other than my desk chair. So sometimes I like to mix it up, you know? Can't always be in bed or on my desk chair, so I'm on the floor. But yeah, chapter 1, no. The introduction is finished. I'm about to start chapter 1. And it is very interesting. And it's written in a pretty like approachable way for the like not scientists. The authors are also not scientists, but they've done like a lot of research, I guess. But I do still think that it will be good to mix it up with Cruel Prince. I might start that tonight. I don't know, I feel like evenings are like a good time for more like fantastical stories, and then like stuff that's like science-based is like a daytime thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, that is the beginning thoughts on A City on Mars. Hello friends, so as you saw, I just started The Cruel Prince, which I'm reading for the Enemies to Lovers square on our bingo. And I'm only 12% through, so I don't have like a ton to say, but I did think that we could chat about it a little bit while I make my lunch for the work week. I'm just making like a chickpea pasta salad with buffalo sauce. So since I bought the sauce, it's not that complicated. But so far I'm actually really enjoying it. I did kind of think that of the kind of YA type books, this would be one that I enjoyed, and so far that's true. I'm enjoying like the writing style and the world that we're kind of exploring. Does Jude maybe have a little bit of like typical YA female main character energy? Like yes, maybe a little bit, you know, especially like the tragic backstory, but you know, is that inherently bad? Not necessarily. I think it can be done well, and as I said, so far I am enjoying it. The only thing that I'm like, what the hell, is not specifically like a problem with the story. Well, we'll see. But is that I know from like the internet who the love interest is, and we've been introduced to him, and so far he's just like actually like a monster. Like, so I have no idea how we're gonna ever feel sympathetic for him, but I am letting Holly Black take the wheel. We shall see how that goes, but so far he's just like an actually like deserves to be in jail. So yeah, no idea, but I think it's going to be a relatively quick read. The Kindle Kobo says there are 6 hours of reading remaining, so it's 4:30 right now. Maybe I'll even finish it tonight. I don't think I probably will, because I'm probably going to do other things, but you know, we can make a good bit of progress. So yeah, I'm going to finish cooking my lunch now, and I'm probably honestly gonna put my e-reader here and keep reading as I do that, because it's not that complicated of a dish to cook, so I think I can do 2 things at once here. Hello, I thought I would just give a little bit of a update for end of day. It is now 9:37 and I am 85% of the way through Cruel Prince. I have 100 e-reader pages left, whatever that's worth. And I did think about staying up and just finishing it, but I am tired and I have to get up for work in the morning, so yeah. But we are very close to, what is going on with my hair? We are very close to marking off our first space on the bingo card. Hello friends, it is Wednesday night now. No, wow, okay, it's Monday night. So that tells you how I'm doing. I'm just mentally and like physically exhausted, but I did finish Cruel Prince on the bus this morning and I did really enjoy it. And then I continued with A City on Mars at lunch, and I'm now up to page 158, 12% read. So, you know, we're making progress. Not as fast as Cruel Prince, obviously, but it's a totally different vibe. Okay, it is now Wednesday evening. I didn't update yesterday, but as you would have seen, I did start Empire of the Vampire, and yeah, I didn't get very far. I think like 50 pages or so, 56. Although they never start on page 1 for some reason, so probably like around 50. And so far I'm enjoying it. It is definitely not like the Stephanie Meyer kind of brand of vampires. It is kind of like dark, creepy, gross vampires, which is interesting and not something I've really read. So that'll be a fun new thing to try. And then I have still been reading City on Mars. I am like very close to 50% now. I haven't been reading like a ton of it each day, but just like continuing to chip away on it. Another Holds from the Library came in, but I don't think it would quite fit for the book everybody's talking about prompt, so I might have to delay that. I still don't know what I'm gonna read for that. I might just pick something that like people talk about in general and not specifically that like ton of people are talking about right now. I've been looking for books, like I've been watching like book reviews and book vlogs and trying to find something that like a lot of people are talking about at once. I haven't come across anything that I'm like, yeah, I wanna read this, or that I'm like, a lot of people are talking about this right now. And it's also like, I think there are a lot of new releases coming soon, but there hasn't been anything like this month that I know about. So yeah, we'll just see about that. But book 3 has been started. been a while, but I'm here finally to give you an update. I honestly just haven't really been in a filming, especially a talking mood, and I still kind of am not, but I have updates, so we move. So I did finally finish Empire of the Vampire. It took me a lot longer than I expected, and I don't know why I didn't expect it to take a while because it is 700 pages, so that's not an insignificant number of pages. It was good. It was a little bit intense, maybe is the word, and just kind of graphic vibes for my taste, but I'll probably still read the next one at some point. It's not a priority. And then I've completely blanked on what square this was for. Oh, for what people were talking about. I decided that I could swing it, that murder bot was something that was being talked about. I did start Rogue Protocol this morning, and I am on page 69 out of 220, so I could conceivably finish this up tonight. It's only 9-ish now, so that's a possibility, and then we will only have one square left for that bingo. Well, friends, it's now been kind of a while since the last update for this video, but it is far past time where we wrap this thing up. It's been going on for probably almost 3 weeks now, and we have one square left, and that is the book you can read in one sitting, which of course we are going to be reading Traveling Cat Chronicles for. And I'm not actually concerned about actually reading this in one sitting, but I just feel it's a book where you could really easily read it in one sitting. It's 275 pages, but the pages are small. The text is relatively large, widely spaced. This is something that I feel the average person who reads a lot could conceivably read pretty easily in one sitting. But yeah, I'm just that's not the vibe today. So as long as I read it today, I'm gonna say that it's counts. So yeah, I'm gonna have my morning coffee and get started on this. We'll be coming back to this throughout the day until we finish the whole thing, and then we will finally have completed our bingo and we can wrap this video up. I don't know how long it's been for you guys, but for me, this has been going on for a long time, so it will be nice to get it done. Alright, so I finally completed our little Indigo Book Bingo, so I thought we would do a bit of a wrap up. And yeah, so the first square that we chose was first in a series, and for that we of course read Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. I still have not rated this, but I think it would probably be in the high 3 to low 4 type of range, which with how strictly I've been rating things this year is pretty good. I would say that overall I would recommend this. There were some things that I didn't specifically love about it, but overall a positive book. And then the next one on our diagonal, a one sitting read, and for that I read the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. Now I didn't actually read this in one sitting, but I did read it in one day, and I decided that was good enough. And I did rate this one. I ended up rating it 5 stars. It's very different from this, extremely different. We're following this cat who gets adopted off the street by a guy. It's pretty short, so it's easy to kind of give spoilers, but it was very emotional, especially towards the end, and it actually made me cry, which is not a thing that a lot of books have done. I think it's been maybe 3 to 4 books total, and so for him to do that in this few amount of pages really says a lot about, I guess, the quality of the writing and story. But I do also think if you haven't had pets, it probably wouldn't get you the same way, but for me, it definitely did. And I kind of just had no notes, so that's part of why I gave it 5 stars. Okay, next star was a book everybody is talking about, and I ended up using Murderbot Volume 3. I've since read the 4th one, but I'm pretty sure for this I read the 3rd one. I'm sorry, it's kind of been a while actually since I finished reading the books for this, and I'm just now getting around to filming this little outro, so bear with me. But yeah, Murderbot 3, I'm pretty sure it was, which was definitely very enjoyable. I'm trying to remember what happened in that one. Yes, it was an improvement over the 2nd one for me, but I still definitely think the 1st and is my favorite, and now having read the 4th, I'd probably put like 1 and 4, 3, 2. But overall, very enjoyable, and of course also another short one, so I think it's easier to rate short books higher because you haven't invested as much, so it's not as much of a letdown if it's not as good. You're just kind of like, yeah, it was short and fun. Next, we have Enemies to Lovers Romance, and for this, I read The Cruel Prince, and I quite enjoyed this one. I did think that I would like it, and I think let me check what I rated it, because I did rate this one already, actually. Okay, and I ended up giving Cruel Prince 4 stars. It was overall very enjoyable, as I said. However, it does have a little bit of the sort of YA tendencies that aren't always my favorite, especially with like the main character. I think they tend to be less developed as actual characters and a little bit sort of blank to leave room for the reader to self-insert. And I don't think it was too bad in this one. She didn't have as many of the typical characteristics or lack thereof of many YA female protagonists, but a little bit. I would recommend it if you like YA. I mean, you probably read it if you do like YA, but also if you mainly read adult fantasy and you want something that's like fast and enjoyable, then I would recommend The Cruel Prince. And finally, our last square is an award winner, and for that I read A City on Mars. This is a nonfiction about space settlement, specifically talking about mostly Mars and the moon, as well as like a space station type settlement, and whether or not it would be possible, a little bit of like the logistics, the science, and the laws behind all of that. And I ended up giving this one also 4 stars, so also a very enjoyable one. A little bit, just like in the law part, I got a little bit bored / bogged down, and I don't really know how you're meant to write sort of a section about space law without it being a little bit like that. It was still interesting throughout. It's just a little bit less interesting, I suppose, than talking about the science and all the fun things. And it was it's trying to be very realistic about what the timeline and possibilities are, which I can really appreciate, but it's definitely less fun than just like speculating about like, ooh, here's a possible sciencey thing we could do to do this and that. So I think maybe a little more optimism in there, a little more excitement about the science could have helped lift it up a little bit, but as it was still very insightful and interesting. And if you have any interest in space, I definitely recommend you check it out. If you think that Elon Musk is going to settle Mars by like whatever he said he was going to, 2040, I don't even know. Maybe read it as a bit of a reality check for that. But yeah, those are the 5 books that I read for this little challenge. All very different vibes. We had an adult fantasy. We had I don't even know what you would call this. It's kind of like slice of life a little bit, sort of general fiction. Then we had a sci-fi novella. Then we had a fantasy romance, and finally a nonfiction all about space. So we kind of covered 5 different genres. You could argue that sci-fi and fantasy are kind of the same genre, or that sci-fi and YA fantasy are both a subset of regular fantasy. There's my hot take. Sci-fi is just a subset of fantasy and not its own genre. And I overall really enjoyed this kind of little experiment, I guess you could say. Definitely got me reading different things, as I said. So I think that's kind of all I have to say. Check out the little Indigo bingo card for yourself. Maybe you want to do a little bingo, explore something outside of your comfort zone, or just be inspired to read more this spring / this year. But that is all that I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.